Halloween in the 1960s wasn't about plastic decorations or store-bought costumes. It was about freedom, imagination, and a little danger. Kids roamed the streets long after dark, flashlights flickering, pillowcases filling with candy, and the smell of burning pumpkins in the air. Parents didn't hover, phones didn't exist, and every front porch had a mystery waiting behind it. Before fun-sized candy bars, glow sticks, and safety warnings, Halloween night in America was wild, weird, and wonderfully innocent. Let's step back into the crisp October nights of the 60s, when trick-or-treating felt like an adventure. Here are 12 things every American kid did on Halloween night in the 1960s, traditions that have all but disappeared. In the 1960s, Halloween costumes weren't bought. They were invented. Kids raided closets, kitchens, and garages looking for anything that could be transformed. A bedsheet became a ghost. A cardboard box turned into a robot. And Mom's old coat could make you a detective. Or a vampire, depending on the night. Lipstick, eyeliner, and soot from the fireplace were your makeup kit. Some kids wore plastic masks from Woolworths that fogged up instantly, while others improvised with paper bags and construction paper. There were no brand names or trends, only imagination. You didn't need perfection to impress anyone. The rougher it looked, the better. That homemade magic made every costume unique and unforgettable. When the sun dipped below the horizon, kids vanished into the night like little ghosts. No parents. No cars crawled behind, no cell phones buzzed, just a gang of friends with flashlights and candy dreams. You knew every shortcut, every spooky house, and which neighbor gave out full-size candy bars. The streets were alive with laughter, costumes rustling, and the crunch of leaves underfoot. You learned to stick together, to run from barking dogs, and to say thank you at every door. Parents trusted their kids, and kids earned that trust. Halloween wasn't a family event. It was your night. You ruled the neighborhood until the porch lights went out. Every serious trick-or-treater knew the secret. Forget the pumpkin bucket. Bring a pillowcase. It was sturdy, expandable, and perfect for hauling serious loot. You'd grab one from your bed, maybe still warm from last night's sleep, and set off into the dark. At first, it felt light, swinging easily at your side. But as the night went on, it got heavier and heavier, a satisfying weight of pure sugar wealth. You'd sling it over your shoulder like a pirate's treasure sack, or drag it behind you when it got too full. By the end of the night, your arms ached, but your grin said it all. That heavy pillowcase meant victory, the mark of a Halloween well spent. When the door-to-door adventure ended, Halloween night transformed into a full-blown economy. Kids dumped their candy hauls onto the floor, sorting them into piles. Chocolates here, lollipops there, and those dreaded raisins in the corner. Then came the trades. I'll give you 2 Smarties for 1 Baby Ruth. No deal. Make it 3. It was pure negotiation, powered by sugar and greed. Some kids protected their candy stash like a dragon guarding treasure. Others haggled until bedtime. Everyone knew the candy hierarchy. Chocolate ruled, gum was gold, and anything healthy was worthless. By the end, you had a perfectly curated collection, proof that Halloween was as much about strategy as sweets. Carving a pumpkin in the 60s was a family affair and a little dangerous. You didn't have fancy carving kits or plastic tools. You had a dull kitchen knife and a lot of determination. Once the jagged face was done, a real candle went inside, flickering behind the crooked grin. The glow was soft, mysterious, and alive. The true spirit of Halloween, the air smelled of wax, smoke, and roasted pumpkin. Sometimes the candle blew out. Other times it scorched the lid, leaving a black ring of soot. Nobody worried about fire hazards. The risk was part of the fun. That trembling little flame gave Halloween its soul, unpredictable, eerie, and completely enchanting. Every kid in the 1960s remembers those plastic masks, thin, shiny, and impossible to wear comfortably. They came in cardboard boxes with cellophane windows, hanging proudly on store shelves. Inside were flimsy costumes made of glossy fabric that tied behind your neck and smelled like chemicals. The masks had tiny eye holes you could barely see through and a mouth slit that cut your lip if you breathed too hard. The elastic strap always snapped halfway through the night, and yet you wore it proudly. Whether you were Frankenstein, Casper, or Batman, you felt invincible. The sweat, the fogged-up vision, the red marks on your cheeks, they were badges of honor. That plastic mask meant it was Halloween. In the 1960s, Halloween candy wasn't factory-sealed. It was homemade. Neighbors proudly handed out treats they'd made themselves. Fudge squares, popcorn balls wrapped in wax paper, caramel apples glistening with sugar, even cookies, or small slices of pumpkin pie. Sometimes there were open bowls of candy corn or loose chocolates, and kids would grab a handful without hesitation. No one worried about allergies, expiration dates, or labels. You trusted your neighbors because you knew them. Every face on the block was familiar. The world felt smaller, safer, and sweeter. Those homemade goodies weren't just snacks. They were tokens of community, made with care, shared with love, and remembered for a lifetime. Halloween night didn't have an official end. It lasted as long. As the porch lights stayed on, that was the rule everyone knew. Kids darted through the darkness, breath visible in the cool air, pillowcases getting heavier with every stop. You could feel the night slipping by as more houses went dark, one by one. The bravest kids pushed their luck, sprinting to one last door before the street went silent. Shoes were soaked with dew, fingers sticky from sugar, and laughter echoed down the block. You didn't need to be told when to stop. The empty streets and flickering pumpkins told you. When the final light went out, Halloween was truly over. For older kids, Halloween wasn't just about candy. It was about chaos. Once the little ones went home, the real fun began. Teenagers crept through neighborhoods armed with soap, eggs, and rolls of toilet paper. Windows got soaped, trees got wrapped, and sometimes the mean old neighbor's porch got a surprise egging. It was mischief, not malice. No videos, no police calls, just harmless rebellion. The next morning, the streets were littered with toilet paper fluttering like ghosts and faint egg stains on driveways. Parents scolded, but secretly smiled. Everyone knew it was part of the tradition. It was messy, thrilling, and a little dangerous. The trick in trick-or-treating that made Halloween night legendary. Before commercial haunted houses with animatronics and fog machines, Halloween scares were homemade, and that made them even better. Families transformed basements into eerie lairs using little more than blankets, flashlights, and imagination. You'd reach into bowls of cold spaghetti brains, peeled grape eyeballs, and wet sponges that felt like older kids hid in closets waiting to scream as you walked by. Schools and churches joined in too, setting up spooky mazes with fake cobwebs, eerie soundtracks, and dim red lights. It was cheap, simple, and unforgettable. Every shriek and nervous laugh felt real because it was real. You didn't need Hollywood-level scares, just creativity, a dark room, and a good imagination. When the trick-or-treat bags were full, Halloween night wasn't over. It was just getting started. Kids gathered around crackling bonfires in backyards, fields, or empty lots. The air was cold, the smoke thick, and sparks danced toward the stars. Someone always started telling ghost stories, tales of haunted bridges, headless spirits, or the ghost that still roamed Main Street. Flashlights under chins, jump scares, and screams of laughter filled the night. The morning after Halloween was a sweet kind of exhaustion. You'd wake up tangled in your costume, pillowcase of candy beside the bed like a trophy from the night before. Your stomach hurt from too many sweets, your throat was dry, and your face was still sticky with chocolate. But it was worth it. The house smelled faintly of pumpkin and wax, and maybe your mask was cracked or your cape torn. Nobody cared. You'd dump out your candy again, proudly inspecting your haul in the morning light. Halloween wasn't perfect. It was wild, messy, and free. It was the kind of fun that could only exist in the 1960s, when imagination ruled and the world still felt like one big adventure. Halloween in the 60s was chaos, and community rolled into one. A night where kids ruled the streets and imagination ruled the night. When the trick-or-treat bags were full, Halloween night wasn't over. It was just getting started. Kids gathered around crackling bonfires in backyards, fields, or empty lots. The air was cold, the smoke thick, and sparks danced toward the stars. Someone always started telling ghost stories, tales of haunted bridges, headless spirits, or the ghost that still roamed Main Street. Flashlights under chins, jump scares, and screams of laughter filled the night. Older kids tried to scare the younger ones, and it usually worked. The combination of cold air, firelight, and imagination created pure magic. Those ghost stories weren't just scary, they were a rite of passage, burned into every childhood memory. The morning after Halloween was a sweet kind of exhaustion. You'd wake up tangled in your costume, pillowcase of candy beside the bed like a trophy from the night before. Your stomach hurt from too many sweets. Your throat was dry, and your face was still sticky with chocolate. But it was worth it. The house smelled faintly of pumpkin and wax, and maybe your mask was cracked or your cape torn. Nobody cared. You'd dump out your candy again, proudly inspecting your haul in the morning light. Halloween wasn't perfect. It was wild, messy, and free. It was the kind of fun that could only exist in the 1960s, when imagination ruled and the world still felt like one big